Good morning, everyone. I know that it's early. This is our first talk of the 4th Annual Vibrant Living EXPO, and I would like to welcome you here this morning. My name is Cherie Soria, and I am the director of Living Light Culinary Arts Institute, which I founded 11 years ago. Now, with my husband, Dan Latterman, we own all 4 of the Living Light International businesses, which includes the school, as well as the cafe, the marketplace, and now our eco-friendly Living Light Inn. I hope that you all are able to participate and enjoy every minute of this expo. We've been working on it all year long with the help of our 30 employees to make it the absolute best experience ever. Today, I'd like to welcome all of you, and I'd like to talk a little bit about community and how we build community, as well as talk about the raw food revolution. One of the most important parts of building community is tolerance and acceptance. And so what I would like to really provide here this morning is the voice of reason. I'd like us all to really join together and accept everybody where they are on their journey. And I want to start our day out in the beginning of this expo out really focusing on that acceptance. It's very important to me as a community builder. I want to acknowledge that there are people who are coming here who are completely new, brand new to the whole idea of eating more raw fruits and vegetables. And there are people here who have been 100% raw for a long time, and they're so 100% raw that they only eat fruits from seed-bearing plants, only the ones in season. So there are a lot of differences in terms of the way people eat. And yet there's something that we all have in common. We are all on a path of building better health. We all have an interest in adding more raw fruits and vegetables to our diets. So what I'd like to focus on is what we have in common. And one of the things I'd like to make clear is that you're going to hear some different information from the different speakers who are here. Some of them have very different ideas. Some think that you shouldn't eat any fruit at all, and some think that you should eat mostly fruit. Some think that you should eat a lot of fermented foods, and some think you shouldn't eat any fermented foods at all. But I'd like to talk for a little bit about what we all have in common, and then I'm going to talk about what some of the different diets are, so when you hear what they are, you won't be confused. It all works. One of the reasons that it works is because all of these experts, the very first thing that they do is they take people off of the diets that they've been on that have been doing the harm. So they take them off of the animal-based diet, the high-protein diet, the cooked food, which creates carcinogens, acrylamides, and so forth, and they take them off of all of the junk food and the processed foods. Those are the most important things. And they add more raw fruits and vegetables to their diet. Those are the things that they all have in common. And so I'd like to now talk about what the differences are, or what we could say are the things that set them all apart. And I'm going to start with fruitarians. I'm going to kind of start with the most extreme, if you want to think of that as extreme, the most extreme of the diets. Most fruitarians eat fruits in their simplest forms. And fruits are designated as something that contains seeds and could self-propagate, right? So that doesn't just mean sweet fruits. Of course, there are sweet fruits like apples and oranges, and all of those are sweet fruits, and most of them have seeds unless they've been hybridized. Bananas, for example, have you can barely see a little bit of a speck where seeds used to be before they were hybridized. But they are fruits. As you probably all know, watermelons are supposed to have seeds, aren't they? But the seeds have been bred out of some watermelons, and you'll find they're not quite as sweet and tasty as the ones with seeds. Still, they're all fruits. There are also non-sweet fruits. And non-sweet fruits would be like bell peppers and cucumbers and zucchini and eggplant. Those are all fruits. They all have seeds. So what we sometimes think of as vegetables are also fruits. So fruitarians aren't just people who eat sweet fruits. Many fruitarians are committed to eating a fruit-only diet, not just because of health, but because of ethical reasons. They don't want to kill anything, including a plant. And so they eat what is freely given by the plant. What is intended for animals to eat is what they eat, and that is the fruit of the plant. So they wouldn't eat roots, they wouldn't eat shoots, they wouldn't eat sprouts, they wouldn't eat something like broccoli or asparagus, where you have to kill the plant in order to take it. So that would be what a fruitarian would eat. Although they would also, many of them would also eat nuts and seeds, because again, that's not killing the tree, right? And they might also eat greens, because you can take the leaves off of the outer part of the lettuce, for example, without killing the plant. So if it's for ethical purposes, those things would be included. Natural hygienists might be the next category down. I say down if you want to think of it as a hierarchy. It isn't really. But natural hygienists also have a very high fruit diet, and they have a low starch diet. Their goal is really to obtain natural health, and it's not as much of an ethical reasoning as the fruitarian diet would be. Hygienists eat food in its natural form with as little processing as possible. So a natural hygienist, culinary artist would be kind of an oxymoron, because there's not a whole lot of using the food processors and so forth. There wouldn't be a need for a dehydrator. They wouldn't be eating crackers and that sort of thing. So in fact, food eaten mostly in its whole form and eaten sequentially, or some people call that a mono diet, where you eat as much as you can of one kind of food, because they're also very interesting in good digestion through good food combining. And so with good food combining, the best is just to eat it by itself. So if you were going to eat grapes, for example, you wouldn't mix grapes with something else. You would just eat grapes by itself. And then when you're finished with grapes, you've had enough grapes, you might still actually be able to eat more, but you're tired of grapes, then you could eat something else. That would be sequential eating. And that's what people sometimes think as mono eating, because you just eat all one thing. With mono eating, though, you wouldn't then eat something else afterwards. But even if you are sequentially eating, you would eat, the next thing that you would eat would be something that would be able to combine well for digestion with the grapes that you ate. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So some of the other things about the natural hygienists, and you'll find, because you're going to be hearing a lot of different kinds of diets this weekend, and again, I'm setting you up to not be confused by them. They would eat little, if any, fractional fats. Now, a fractional fat is a fat that has been removed from its whole food source. For example, olive oil is not a whole food. Even if it's a virgin olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil, it's been pressed from the food, so it doesn't contain the fiber and some of the other nutrients that the whole olive would contain. So the natural hygienist would eat the olive, but not the olive oil. So the whole foods, avocados, but not avocado oil. All right? So fractional fats are discouraged. And even whole food fats like avocados and nuts and olives would be eaten sparingly. A lower fat diet is really optimal for the natural hygienists. They also say no to fermented foods, which they don't consider to be natural, and stimulating foods like chili and garlic and onions, and even salty foods like sea vegetables, because they consider that to be too much sodium. They also don't take supplements like blue-green algae and spirulina and wheatgrass juice, or drink juices for the most part. Very little juices are consumed, because usually that makes for a higher sugar content, because we usually can't eat as much fruit as we can drink if we're drinking the juice of the fruit. And they really feel that our bodies are designed to eat the whole fruit and not separate the juice or the fats from the fruit themselves. So they're really natural eaters, the natural hygienists. And we have some natural hygienists here at our event doing talks, as well as some fruitarians. I just want you to know that here at Living Light, we are a bridge for all kinds of information. Whatever you want to learn about, you're going to learn about it all.